Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that's reshaping how enterprises actually get work done with AI. We're talking about Agentic AI for enterprise workflows, with a specific focus on what's happening in Rotterdam right now in 2026. Sam, this isn't about chatbots anymore, is it?
Not even close. The market has fundamentally shifted. We're looking at autonomous agents that coordinate entire workflows, integrate with business logic, and actually deliver measurable ROI. For a hub like Rotterdam, logistics, maritime, supply chain operations, this is a game changer. The enterprises winning right now aren't the ones with the fanciest models, they're the ones with the best control planes and evaluation frameworks.
That's a really interesting distinction. Let's ground this in numbers for a second. How much of the market are we actually talking about here?
Mackenzie Data from 2026 shows 68% of enterprises plan to deploy AI agents for workflow orchestration by Q2 2026. That's nearly double from 34% just 2 years ago in 2024. We're not in the experimental phase anymore. This is mainstream infrastructure planning.
So what does that actually look like in practice? If I'm running a logistics operation in Rotterdam, what am I automating?
Think about order processing. Agents can automatically validate, route, and escalate orders without a single human touchpoint. Then you've got vessel scheduling, where multiple agents coordinate across port operations, customs systems, and carrier networks. Compliance reporting is another huge one. Agents track regulatory changes in real time, audit documentation, flag exceptions. And customer support gets tiered. Simpler queries handled by agents pulling context from knowledge bases, complex issues routed to specialists.
That's the workflow side. But you mentioned control planes and evaluation frameworks as the real differentiator. What do you mean by a control plane exactly?
Imagine air traffic control for AI workflows. A control plane is the orchestration layer that manages multiple autonomous agents, coordinates their work, handles conflicts, and maintains complete observability. Single-agent systems are limited. They handle isolated tasks. A control plane lets you do sequential workflows where Agent A processes input, Agent B validates, Agent C executes, all with logging and audit trails.
So it's not just multiple agents running in parallel, but actually intelligent coordination between them?
Exactly. You get parallel execution for speed, dynamic routing where agents choose the next step based on output and confidence scores, fallback and escalation if an agent fails or confidence drops, and crucially, cost governance. You can track token spend per agent, optimize which model handles which task, enforce budget caps. For Rotterdam's port sector, this means scheduling agents talk to customs agents, which feed billing agents, all without manual handoffs.
Now, here's something I found really interesting in the guide. The EU AI Act isn't positioned as a compliance burden, but as a competitive advantage. How does that work?
It's a perspective shift, honestly. Gartner data shows 42% of enterprises that delayed compliance planning in 2024 faced scope creep, costing 30 to 50% more in 2025 and 2026. Enterprises embedding EU AI Act compliance into their agent architecture from day one, they avoid that rework entirely. And it's not just about legal risk. Proper agent governance gives you transparency logs, decision explainability, data lineage. That's operational intelligence.
So you get better control of your system as a byproduct of being compliant?
Yes, you understand how your agents are making decisions, where data is flowing, what audit trails look like. That visibility is gold when something goes wrong or when you need to optimize. Rotterdam enterprises have an extra advantage here, their proximity to EU regulatory expertise and embedded in a collaborative ecosystem that understands these requirements.
Let's talk about evaluation frameworks. That came up a few times in the guide. Why is that so critical?
Because reliability wins contracts. You can have brilliant agents, but if you can't prove they work consistently and you can't catch failures before they cascade, enterprises won't trust them at scale. Evaluation frameworks let you measure agent performance across dimensions: accuracy, latency, cost per task, exception handling, compliance adherence.
And I imagine you're not just testing in isolation?
Right. You're testing agents in workflow contexts. How does Agent A's output affect Agent B's decision-making? What's the compounding effect of a 2% error rate at one stage through a 5-stage pipeline? You need frameworks that simulate real conditions and stress test interactions. That's how you move from pilots to production.
Another piece that stood out: RAG evaluation, retrieval augmented generation. Why is that specifically called out for enterprise workflows?
Because most agentic workflows rely on RAG to ground agent decisions in actual business data. An agent pulling information from your knowledge base needs to retrieve the right information reliably. If your RAG system is weak, your agent is making decisions on bad context. Enterprises need evaluation frameworks that measure retrieval quality, relevance ranking, and how well-grounded decisions are in source documents.
So it's not enough to have good agents if the data they're working with is unreliable?
Absolutely not. Garbage in, garbage out. In Rotterdam's port operations, that could mean a scheduling agent pulling outdated vessel data, creating cascade delays across the supply chain. RAG evaluation is foundational to reliable workflows.
Cost optimization came up a lot in the guide, too. How are enterprises actually controlling costs in multi-agent deployments?
Multiple strategies. One is model selection per task. You don't run a large language model when a smaller specialized model does the job 95% as well for a tenth of the cost. You track token spend at the agent level and optimize bottlenecks. You can also implement intelligent caching, parallel execution to reduce latency and retries, and confidence-based routing so simple tasks skip expensive model calls.
So it's not just picking a model once and hoping for the best?
No. Enterprise deployments need observability dashboards that show cost per workflow, per agent, per day. You see where your spend is going, identify optimization opportunities, and forecast scaling costs before they surprise you. That's operational maturity.
If I'm a Rotterdam enterprise looking to implement this, where do I actually start?
The guide walks through a roadmap. First, audit your current workflows. Where's manual handoff friction? Where are bottlenecks? Second, identify high ROI automation targets. Order processing, scheduling, compliance checks are usually quick wins. Third, prototype with an agent SDK that supports your use case. Fourth, build your control plane and evaluation framework in parallel, not after. Fifth, test relentlessly in staging before production rollout.
And the EU AI Act compliance piece, does that fit into this roadmap or is it separate?
It should be embedded from step one, honestly. Define your transparency requirements, set up audit logging from day one, document decision logic. It's not a separate compliance project added at the end. It's baked into how you build the system. That's actually faster and cheaper than retrofitting.
Last question. What's the biggest mistake enterprises make when deploying agentic AI?
Assuming model quality is the bottleneck. It's not. The real constraint is orchestration, observability, and governance. You can have a brilliant model that fails in production because your control plane can't handle exceptions, your evaluation framework didn't catch edge cases, or your cost controls let spend spiral. The quote in the guide nails it. The enterprises winning in 2026 aren't those with the most advanced models, they're the ones with the most reliable control planes and the best evaluation frameworks.
So it's the unglamorous infrastructure work that actually matters?
Exactly. Model choice is table stakes, orchestration and observability win deals. That's where Rotterdam enterprises need to focus.
Sam, really insightful breakdown. For anyone looking to dive deeper into the implementation roadmap, compliance strategies, and real case studies from Rotterdam, head over to etherlink.ai and check out the full article. Agentic AI for Enterprise Workflows, Rotterdam Guide, 2026. There's a ton of practical detail in there that we didn't have time to cover today. Thanks for listening to EtherLink AI Insights. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Alex. Great conversation, and remember, build for reliability and governance first. The rest follows.